This is important to me because I've been on both sides of this. I've been poor as a child and I've been poor as an adult. I'm talking about opening the refrigerator and seeing nothing but baking soda and maybe a stick of butter. I found a simple strategy that helped me to get out of debt once and for all. And I'm sharing that strategy here with you today. You're listening to the Modern Kings podcast, your source of life-changing information for upgrading your lifestyle and unlocking your keys to success. Welcome to Modern Kings. What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, King Prime. I can be found at iamkingprime.com. I appreciate you tuning in here to the Modern Kings podcast, where our mission is to help you to look good, to help you to make money, and to help you to stay fit. Today, I'm going to be talking about getting debt free. The place that you want to be, the place that is painful for you to think about, or maybe even to discuss. We're going to be diving into practical steps and strategies that can help you embark on your debt-free journey. Whether you're drowning in student loan debts, consumer debt, credit cards, or personal loans, I'm going to be telling you what I did in order to get out of that situation and to become debt-free. All of these steps are very, very practical. I'm going to show you how to gain or regain control over your financial freedom and start living a debt-free life. Before we dive deep into those things, I'm going to share with you a bit of my personal story. I do not want you to feel sorry for me as I share this. Everything that I did to put myself in this situation was really my choice. And it was also my choice to get out of it. In church, you go to church on Sunday, you go well into the afternoon, if not early evening, and church goes super long, especially in the Black church. So it goes really, really long. And by the time that you get out, you just want to go get something to eat. So you find yourself going out to eat. While it in your budget knows that you can't go out and you shouldn't go out, but the fact that you're hungry and you want instant gratification and everyone else from church is going out to eat makes you want to go and join in. And that's one of the many things that I would do. This was painful for me. So here I am, I'm on both sides of it. I have the desire and the goal to get out of debt. And then I have this desire over here to keep living in a comfortable space. I want to keep doing everything that I'm doing, but I know that my vision to get out of debt is stronger. I also know long term that staying in debt and being in that place is not going to be good for me in the long run. So instead of consistently watching me have more month than money, I decided to do something about it. And what prompted me to do something about it was a copy of a book called The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. I found this book in the trash at church. So I began to read this book. I began to consume the content. Then I started to research this guy named Dave Ramsey. Then I would start to listen to him on the radio. That's right, not the podcast, not YouTube, none of that. The radio. So I would hear these people yell out their debt-free scream as he would count down, and they would drive from all over the country just to celebrate this. And that motivated me. I was inspired. Plus, there were people sharing their stories that were similar to mine, some better than mine, some worse than mine. But as I began to listen to these people and to understand and identify, what I said to myself is, hey, this is my tribe. These are my people, and I'm going to be one of those people to do my debt-free scream. So I started to think about my side hustles. Like, what can I do to make more money to throw at this debt? What are those things that I'm good at that people will actually pay me for and that I know I'm good? There's websites, there's graphic design, there's coding, and I even got into network marketing. A lot of you call those the pyramid scheme and the get rich quick scheme. We used to say, how's getting rich slow working for you? For the time that I was connected in that business, it did great and I did great. So those are just a few things that I did to help to bring in more money. But I realized early on in that process of trying to get out of debt and making my budget that this was going to suck for a long time. And that I definitely had to delay gratification in multiple areas. But I decided that this is something that I must do. It was not an option to stay in debt. And I wanted to be debt-free for so many reasons. I just knew that there had to be more to life. There has to be more to life than working and paying bills. That is not a life. And I felt the pain. I felt the struggle of that. I witnessed a lot of poor people around me, a lot of broke people around me, again, in childhood and adult. And all I know is the best way that I can help them is to not be one of them. So that in itself inspired me. I wanted that change to be forever, not just out of debt, in debt, out of debt, back in debt. I wanted that to be forever because I do not want to be poor. I do not want to set my family up to repeat that cycle. And if I can be honest, I'm still a little afraid of that. One of my fears is being broke. I do not want it. I will not accept it. That is one of the reasons why I am so big on financial literacy and getting a financial education. I want to change my family tree forever. Because debt robs you of everything positive. I also like options. When I go to a restaurant, I want to select whatever I want on the menu. I do not want to look at the chicken and the pasta and to know that I'm boxed into this particular thing. I want whatever I want from that menu. Options is one of my favorite words. And to me, it is worth getting out of debt to be able to have the options that I desire. When I fly, I don't want to be in the back of the plane. I want to be in the front. Wherever I choose to sit, that's where I want to be. I don't want to be in the back or flying Spirit just because all I have is $100 to put towards this flight. Now, for some people, they just want the choice to be able to go somewhere and to fly, and that is admirable in itself. My desire tends to go a little bit higher as I progress, right? And why? Because I have a choice. Now, for you to get out of debt, I'm not going to lie, this is going to be hard. Probably one of the hardest things that you've done in your life, depending on how much debt you're in. You might just feel like giving up right now, but I'm going to let you know it's going to take grit, determination, and it's going to take a few people that are like-minded and supportive of what you're doing. So I mentioned earlier, I found ways to increase my income and opportunities by working extra gigs, anything from photography to graphics design to business card designs. I would design programs for weddings or funerals or churches. And I also made a big decision to miss out on a lot of things. This is the delay and gratification part that I'm talking about. I chose to not go out to dinner because everyone else from church was going. I chose to not go out to lunch when everybody at work was going to lunch. I chose to pack a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I chose those poison, toxic ramen noodles. I resisted the urge to not buy certain things. I chose to not go on vacation, to not take my family on vacation. And this was only for a season. It was a duration that I made a decision, that I stuck with it, and that I knew that this had to happen. If you're still with me right now and you're in debt, I want you to comment below, I can and I will. So as I made this decision to not do what everyone else was doing, I thought of it like this, and Dave Ramsey says this quote too. He says, live like no one else so that you can live like no one else. Right? No one else is eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and taking little cheap lunches to work and choosing to not go out with their friends and choosing to not have a good time on the weekend and choosing to not go on vacation when you're supposed to be going on summer vacation. People want their instant gratification, but you have to be different. You must be different, and you will be different. So I built an emergency fund, put $1,000 in the savings account. And when I talk about my savings account, I got serious about my savings account because my savings account was like everybody else's savings account, where you have a checking and a savings. And then when all of your checking goes out, you just move money from your savings over to your checking. And then it's just like a buffer, but it's like two checking accounts because you're not disciplined. Yeah, that's what I was doing. Then I made a monthly budget. I put all my bills out. I took all my credit card statements out. I looked at my bank statements. and just made sure that I didn't miss anything. How much money am I actually spending? Then I used this tool called Mint. I could see everything on this beautiful pie chart, right? And it just showed me where all of my money was going. And then I looked at all of my income. Well, I don't even know why I'm saying all of my income. It wasn't all because it wasn't significant, but I looked at my income. I cannot stress enough to you how important it is that you know exactly how much debt you have and that you know exactly how much income you're bringing in, because this is going to let you know whether you have positive momentum or negative momentum. You also want to keep a list of your interest rate, your due dates, and your payment amounts to each person that you owe. And I would recommend getting something like a Google spreadsheet. It lives in the cloud. You can access it on your phone. You can access it on computers. And you can even share it with someone else if you're doing this as a couple or in a relationship. I looked at whatever I didn't need and got rid of it. I'm talking about cable subscriptions. I was an early cord cutter. So when it comes to subscriptions, dining out, entertainment, vacations, all of that was out the door. Even things that I had at home, just around the house. If I didn't need it, I sold it. And once I cut the cord over 15 years ago, I never looked back to cable or streaming services. My current subscriptions consist of Masterclass and a couple other educational subscriptions that really are an asset and they pour into my education. So with my budget, I begin assigning every dollar with a task, an action, a mission. You go here and take care of this while you go over here and take care of that. You have to tell your money what to do instead of wondering where it went. And then I began to follow the Dave Ramsey steps. He has these steps called baby steps. There's 7 of them, and I'll get to them in a little while. I also began to work on me. What does that look like? Controlling my impulses, being able to self-educate myself on financial literacy, adding value to myself professionally, learning new skills, things that would begin to compensate and pay me more in the marketplace. The marketplace awards you based on the value that you bring to it. The more valuable that you are, the more value that you gain from the marketplace. Ultimately, I began to seek better employment opportunities. And at one time, I had 8 or 9 different jobs in the course of 10 years. They were all steadily on the incline. Kept getting better and better and better. So each of those things, right? Success breeds success. Every time you successfully complete something, you do something positive, it releases a little hit of dopamine. It's almost like a drug. And all you want is more success. So take the small wins when you're getting out of debt and let that fuel your next step in getting out of debt. Now let's get into the Dave Ramsey baby steps. Now the Dave Ramsey baby steps are a series of financial milestones designed to help individuals or families achieve financial stability and eventually build wealth. Baby step number 1, to save $1,000 for your emergency starter fund. This is like if you have a flat tire or your stove just doesn't work anymore, or you got a cracked windshield or an unforeseen medical bill. Anything that could come up that could prevent you from getting into further debt. Baby step number 2, this is probably the hardest for most people. Pay off all your debt, except for the house. How you're going to do this is using a process called the debt snowball. This is where you list all of your debts, smallest to largest, and you focus on paying the smallest debt first while you're making the minimum payments on the other debts. Once the smallest debt is paid, then you roll that money over to the next debt. And that's why it's called the snowball effect. Baby step 3 is you want 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. This is very hard for people, but it's easy to do when you don't have debt. And let's say you lose your job or something. You have 3 to 6 months emergency fund saved up. Guess what? You interview a lot better when you're not stressed. Baby step number 4, you want to invest 15% of your pay, your take-home pay, into a retirement fund, preferably a Roth IRA. Baby step number 5 is you're going to save for your child's college fund. That's a 529 plan, or also known as an educational savings account. Baby step number 6 is to pay off your home early. That is a huge milestone. For some, it's good to do that. For some, it's not. You probably want to consult with your accountant when it comes to that. Baby step number 7 is a glorious one. Now that is build wealth and give. But what you want to focus on from this video of getting out of debt is baby step number 1, which is your $1,000 starter emergency fund. Baby step number 2, paying off all of your debts. Those are the biggest ones for you in this current stage. There's one thing that I must say on this episode, and you might not like it. I'm going to speak to Black America really quick because Black America needs to hear this. Stop blaming white people for your financial problems. It is not white people's fault that you are undisciplined. It is not white people's fault that you do not know how to invest. It is not white people's problem that you are consistently impoverishing your family. The information is out there. The discipline is something that you can decide on. This is all a choice. We are the biggest consumers on this planet, but we have the least amount of assets and wealth accumulated as an ethnic group. You don't have to buy every shoe when it drops. You don't have to have the biggest rims on your car. You should not be wearing something that's worth more on you than you're investing in yourself. You're not in high school. You're a grown adult trying to take care of a family, a spouse, your next generation. So put it where it needs to go. Put it where it needs to be. Know the difference between an asset and a liability. And please, please, please pay yourself first. It's a real thing. You pay everybody else. You pay your bills. You pay your mortgage. You put your gas in your car, whatever else you have to do, but you fail to pay yourself. Invest in yourself first, because everyone else is going to get their money regardless. Most Americans are in debt. The numbers continue to increase because they keep putting things in your face. You don't have any discipline. You don't have the urge to resist, and you buy anything that comes up on your TikTok, on your Instagram. Amazon is just a tap away, but you got to be better than that. Surround yourself with friends or a support group that is getting out of debt with you along the way. You're going to need that support. Take the first step in the debt-free journey today, whether it's creating your debt list, setting a budget, or choosing a repayment strategy. I want you to look at yourself, look at your family, look at those around you. Envision where you are. Envision how debt has and is impacting you. Maybe even close your eyes and just envision where you think you could be. What's possible if you didn't have the debt that you have? If there was any inkling of value in this video, I would love it if you shared it with tons of people that are in debt out there. Subscribe, like this video. As always, I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here. If you listen to the audio version of this, I would love it if you left me a 5-star review. It is my currency on YouTube. A thumbs up, a share, any of that is the currency on YouTube. And before I go, let me leave you with a quote. Don't buy things you can't afford with money you don't have to impress people you don't like. Follow me on YouTube at King Prime. That is the @ King Prime. Follow me on Instagram at IAM.KingPrime. I will see you in the next video. Until then, look your best, do your best, and be your best.